Alrighty, so today we're looking at Jakemp 2010. He's going to be playing Genji on Numbani. He has a 6 stack of friends. When he posted this, he basically just asked for like general Genji tips and like some tech. And I've watched through this once without audio, but I would say the most important thing would actually be his consistency and his decision making and kind of exploiting the enemy team's comp in a way that's beneficial for him.
Diva or Risa or Diva?
Alright, so they start off on defense.
Oh, sweet.
Pretty standard dive defense, right? Ana Zen, Winston Diva, Ashe Genji. This is pretty good. It covers most generic bases. You pretty much see this kind of comp all the way up until last on Numbani, just because of the different high grounds and how important it is to be able to scale the high ground. So any character that has that mobility is quite important. Some things you'd have to watch out for are your healers don't have any high ground mobility, and so if they get knocked off the high ground, if they get dove, depending on what the enemy is running, then you need to watch out for them and make sure that you win a fight decisively enough that they can reset to a position where they're going to end up.
We're about to eat these kids' ass.
Hell yeah.
Well,
Like that.
maybe you're not. Okay, I'm just gonna.
Twins, you really. You got time. You got time. You got time.
got time.
Alright,
I'll tell you
so-
when you should stop. Stop. All right, stop. No.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good.
Okay, give me a second. I want to see something.
There's no reason to be holding back here right at the very beginning. If anything, you want to be up here and scouting for your team, because if you do manage to take damage, you still have deflect and you can dash back to your healer's LOS. So there's kind of no reason to be back here for this beginning part.
They got Ryan.
I have a friend on my main account.
They're running pharmacy.
Not.
Yeah, Widow. They're Widow.
Oh, they got a
Okay,
widow.
play careful. Play careful. Play careful.
Be careful.
Yeah, play around corners. Wait till they come in. We'll
Do
dive
they have
someone.
pharmacy or just?
Yeah, they do have pharmacy. Yeah.
Okay.
Alright, I'm gonna let you guys. Oh,
Hey,
Rhino
That's
top,
up,
Rhino
right?
Yeah, he's
Battle.
Discord.
Battle, please.
Widow.
Alright, so their tanks are all the way over on the other platform, but your team actually dives everyone over here. This is a great play because their tanks are really doing nothing. Like this is the issue with not having vertical mobility on Numbani. There's Ryan and Zarya are over here, and everything else on their team is down here. So you go after them as a team. They don't have any tanks. This should be an easy fight, in theory.
Oh, I fell. Whatever. I got mega. I'm good.
Hey, Ryan's on point.
Right on
I'm gonna
point.
contest. I'm contesting point.
Yep. Ryan's still Discord.
Ryan, what?
Ah,
Nice.
Zarya?
Is
On
next?
Zarya?
Zarya next on the top.
He's Discorded.
Widow dead.
So that was crispy, dude. Like, when you put that you were looking for like Genji tips on mechanics or like tech, I was not expecting that right there. Like, that was just, oh, that was beautiful. Right?
Yep. Ryan's still
Your
Discord.
Diva goes contest, which is fine. She's gonna feed this Zarya a lot of ult. And then right here you have a choice. You can go after the Ana or you can go after the Widow.
ah,
Nice.
But their Ana and their Mercy are not healing their tanks, so you don't really have to worry about distracting them.
Zarya?
Is Zarya
On
next?
And then
Zarya?
you see the Widow,
He's Discorded.
and
Widow dead.
oh, that was so nice.
Zarya can die.
Zarya on point. Zarya on point.
Mercy one. Mercy one.
Oh no, no.
Yeah, one Mercy.
Yep.
Mercy main.
Yep, we're chasing him.
Push up.
Ana.
Got it.
Oh, let them talk.
The only thing I don't like about this play
You
right
discorded?
here
Widow dead.
is you kill her, so your dash is reset.
Zarya can die.
Zarya on point. Zarya on point.
Mercy one. Mercy one.
Now you just heard a call that Mercy is one, and this like Ana's here. If you go behind the Ana, she's gonna have being attacked from 2 different angles, and she's really gonna struggle on picking a target, right? Or if you dash the Mercy, apparently the Mercy would die with that one dash, and then you can turn around, dash towards the Ana again. Either way isn't the wrong call, but just kind of sitting here is not the best choice. I mean, it works out because you've already won the fight,
Oh no, no.
Yeah, one Mercy.
but
Yep.
Mercy main.
Yep, we're chasing him.
Push up.
Ana.
Got it.
Oh, let them talk. She's like 3
Can we get her?
Yeah.
can't get it.
We have like 1 or 2 talk, like, cause you guys were like, I didn't know what the fuck to do because everyone was talking.
yeah.
I'll shut up.
I'll just
No,
call
but you can
Discord.
call dive targets.
I'm too tired for that.
Okay, I'll call targets.
I just did like a whole fucking hour of like anger cleaning, so.
Okay, that.
Alright, so you dropped one. You don't have res. You gotta play a little bit passive.
That's
All right, Anna. Res.
Come to me.
I'll have mech and okay, mech.
Keep your Discord on one person.
Widow dead, widow dead.
Alright, that was good. That was fine, honestly. There's not much you put down the widow. That's one of the biggest
Keep
things. to do.
switching Discord targets.
Mercy.
Focus Reinhardt on point. Only Rein. Only Rein.
Think I'm
Okay.
stuck there.
Okay, if you are in a distance where you're getting clobbered by Rhine, if you hold deflect and look at the Rhine, you will take no damage. Melee damage does not affect you while you're holding deflect if it's coming from the front. I think there's like if this is your character and this is the way you're looking, you have kind of like an umbrella where melee hits can come from, and you won't take damage. If they hit you from here, then yeah, it will. Same like anything else if you're shot. But you can use that to kind of kite damage. Oh my goodness, that wasn't what I wanted. And you can use that to kind of survive for longer without taking quite as many hits. You tried to
Jesus
deflect the
Christ,
shatter.
just-
I do that every freaking time I'm about to get shattered. I don't know why. I don't know why I think it's going to help. But it's just like you hear the shatter coming and you panic. So you deflect. But had you deflected while he's swinging on you here,
Discord targets.
alright,
Mercy.
Focus Reinhardt on point. Only Rein. Only Rein.
you would have been
I'm stuck there.
at 125 when you got slammed. And then with the harmony, you would have been able to survive
Dude,
the
Jesus Christ.
fire strike. But here, you're now down
Just keep
3.
fucking.
So you're probably not going to win that. Question mark?
Contested.
Unless your monkey's a god.
Are you serious? I can't fucking poop her?
We have bomb and blade.
No.
You want to go in?
I
I
can't
can
poop.
touch.
Resing.
I can.
Okay.
Oh my
No.
gosh.
Back up, back up.
Okay, backing up.
Yeah, you know, Widow counters Ash
Yeah.
pretty well. Okay.
You can go Tracer. Come back, then.
Yeah, dude, you're a mean Tracer.
Or
Yeah,
throw
dude.
a hit scan for the first time. Or like don't.
Stabilize. I'll throw bomb up on Farah when she boosts next time. They're gonna be looking for a grab soon. No personal on Zarya.
I can make an attempt.
Chicklin, keep your Discord on like one person a little bit longer.
Okay.
Alright.
Sights
keep
until 340, guys.
Alright, one thing I really do like is your team's callouts. So far, nothing's been crazy. There could be more you're calming, but for the most part, this is really good for Plat comms.
I don't know where she is. So.
She's top
mate.
left.
She's mate. Trying to
How?
get Farah.
Huge.
Well,
Big-
okay. Ryan's discorded.
Yeah, get Ryan. Actually, on the one.
Lost double S on him.
Okay, no walls. I'm going to the spawn. I'm going to the spawn. We can hold this
Okay.
corner. We can hold
Yeah,
corner.
I'm right with you.
We have Nano Blade, yeah. I'm gonna drop
Don't have
after.
mana yet.
Okay, now something that I noticed throughout this whole VOD is you pretty much waited for Nanoblade every single fight. But the enemy team is running Anna Mercy. And so with Anna Mercy, what they have is a lot of heals, right? Because they have Nade, right? Mercy can fly to it, and then they have the Anna pumping shots into people. So they have really good survivability on certain people. However, the cost for this is they don't have an ult to stop you, right? Because here's what'll happen. You'll blade. Anna hits a sleep, your blade is done. Or they use either Grav or Barrage or Shatter or maybe even Valk, and that's the only way that they will stop you, right? Because they don't have Trance, they don't have Beat Drop, they don't have like a Brig where they can just gather up and rally and you can just get shield bashed. So you need to be much more aggressive with your blading. If if you just blade the Ana and then puppy guard her corpse so she can't get rezzed, Mercy will not be able to put out enough heals to keep the fight. Right? With Mercy's heal rate gimped, unless she's Valking every fight, she's not going to be able to sustain her team. And so, while it's great to nanoblade because you kill so much quicker, it can be worth it to blade when you see an opportunity to kill the Ana, like when she doesn't have her nade or when she doesn't have her sleep, because that in and of itself will swing a team fight in your favor. And of the people on their team, right, they have Rein, Zarya, Pharah, Mercy, Ana, Widow. Right? These are the ones that you're going to be able to reliably blade. Right? If the Widow hooks, you can just blade her and then dash to the Ana, blade her. Right? That right there is 2. So now your team just has to deal with Pharah, Mercy, Rein, Zarya. But because they don't have Ana, the Mercy is going to have to pocket the Rein, Zarya a lot more. And so the Pharah is going to be less of a threat. And then the tank line is going to be much more passive because they are lacking a lot of damage and heals. So throughout this, a lot of these, like I said, I didn't listen to the comm, so I don't know if it was called that you like wanted to nano blade. But don't be afraid just to blade without nano, right? And then the other side to this is, this gives you nano to use as a life-saving measure on a teammate who's low, right? You can use it on Monkey just to cleave through everything. You can use it on, you know, basically it gives your Ana so much more leeway with nano. And again, there's no real reason to save nano in that case. So then you could be much more liberal with nano and blade, using them separately, and you can kind of stagger them to get more effect out of it. Right? So if you blade this first fight, and then she nanos the Winston the next fight, and then by the end of that, you should be near blade, you blade again, and then you've got self-destruct as well. And so you kind of use those ults continuously, fight after fight, so that it's very oppressive for this team, and they don't have the ults to deal with it. So then you just kind of, you know, breeze through. Yeah.
Pharmacy might actually come out here, yep.
I'm on
You're
fair.
gonna probably barrage this.
Widow's main. She's Discord.
Nice.
Good bubble, thank you.
I
Do
got
it.
Plat.
Alright, so she just used hook. Right, they're down a Pharah. You're down a Zen. This is, right now you're even, so you have to swing this fight your way. The issue is, it's not a bad idea to spawn camp, especially on this section of Numbani. But it is hard to aggressively blade this area of the map because they can just run into spawn. And so it's better to blade once they round this corner, right, where even if they want to run away to their spawn, they're not going to make it, than it is to be quite so aggro.
I'm losing back there.
I don't know if we needed that or should have done that.
So now you just traded Nano and Blade for one Shatter, except for that Shatter also got your Diva. So already your Diva was in a position where she was getting burned. And so that kind of puts you into a 4v5 because you'd gotten the Pharah and they've gotten your Zen. But now you've just used 2 ults to get 1 Widow, and they've used 1 ult to stop a Nano Blade and also kill the baby Diva.
Well,
And then you're pretty much going to die there.
Back up, Shadow.
Jesus Christ, dog.
You shouldn't have nano.
That was just weird.
No, you don't. You should listen to the
it's
Genji
okay.
music.
It's okay. We're gonna regroup. We have
You
time for another good
literally
fight
only
here.
you two should be communicating through that.
Yeah, no one else should say nano blade.
What else did they use there? Shatter. That's it.
I think just Shatter.
Okay, we can.
Widow's on high ground in front.
Yeah,
I'm gonna try to contest.
I got you. Oh yeah,
Bring up
Widow's
Mercy.
trying to kill me.
Okay, I'm down.
Pharah's one way in the back.
Yep.
Widow one.
Ryan Discord.
That was fucking a risky dash. Um, let's see. What could we do differently for the entirety of this fight?
I think just Shredder.
So
we can-
we're doing okay up here, and then you get dinked, so you drop down from here. That's fair enough.
Just on high ground in front.
But I don't
I'm gonna try to
like.
contest.
I got you.
You're not getting much value by being right here. Right? If you go through these little houses, you can, distract their Anna so they're not getting as much heals. Because even if you're not killing the Anna, if you're engaging her in a 1v1, you get her low and the Mercy comes to heal her. That is all of the healing away from this team. Your team should be able to capitalize on that. So being here, I'm not quite a big fan of.
Fire's one way in the back.
Yep.
Widow one.
You are so lucky you did not get pinned there.
Ryan Discord.
Right in the back, right in the back.
Okay, so the other thing I notice sometimes you do is you will fan the hammer at huge ranges. So when you fan the hammer, you get 3 shurikens out in a projectile. And basically anything further away than probably where the stop sign is, maybe here, right on this road where this building is, you should never fan the hammer. Because it is extremely unlikely that you will hit anything but 1 shuriken on him, right? Because the other 2 are going to go off into nowhere land. And then on top of that, it's better off to throw 3 in a row that are close, especially on a target like Reinhardt. Like, he's big and beefy. So you're better off left clicking. And so far this hasn't been an issue, but later on I really noticed that there were times where you were just right clicking at people. And the only time you should be right clicking at someone who's very outside of the ideal range of it, which would probably be somewhere around here, would be if they are at 1 health and you are just so amped from some crazy play you did that you know your aim is bogus. Right? And that's kind of a personal player thing. But you're not going to kill him with just 1 shuriken, so you might as well just left click in his direction.
He can die. I can push it.
Dash through him. This is the other thing. You
Widow one.
you dash through him here, right?
Ryan Discord.
And you do good. And then you're left clicking.
I can push it.
Oh, yes, your dash was just going
Stay
out.
on cart. Stay on cart. Stay on cart. I'm on cart. Need help here?
We still have trans.
I'm gonna die. After trance.
That's fine.
Push up. Push
They're
up.
gonna grab the barrage here.
Just kill them.
I'm
Sorry. There we go.
Nice.
Nice. She discorded. Get Mercy.
Yeah, so you had dash this whole time. Not this whole time, but...
Just kill them.
I'm
Sorry. There we go.
Okay, so you try to deflect the barrage. That's fine. Your diva eats a lot of it, which is good. She gets slept, which is good.
Nice.
She gets hit with a nade here. I would have just immediately dashed. She's at no health, and you don't want her getting away whatsoever. It's unlikely she would have, but since dash resets on kills, you can dash through her and you still have your ability.
She discorded. Get Mercy.
Where'd Mercy go? Where's... Let's push up on this window. Push up on Widow.
A little
Widow,
bit.
no graph.
Dasher, you're very not ballsy with your dashes. And it's not even ballsy, but you don't use your dash to engage. Like here, okay, she's out of range. I can understand not wanting to dash, but there, you could hit her with dash. And at that point, she'd have been at, I think, what, 10, 15 health maybe-ish? Just throw 1 melee in after the dash, boom, you've just huge staggered their Widow.
Front left.
I'm staying on cart.
Just for OC.
Yeah, and now their Widow's going to get healed. So, yet again, you could have stopped that Ryan from getting that hit in, and you're lucky he beefed the other hits by holding deflect.
Alright, sights
Yeah,
until
we
128.
have Nano Blade for this
128.
next fight. We will definitely get Blade off this as long as we don't get picked. So
Gosh, they trapped me there. How did I
they have yeah.
far up boot me back?
Here comes the grab.
Rough. I'm just gonna cleave.
I'll try to eat it.
Mercy Discord up top. Where's she? Oh.
Got
fuck.
Mercy.
Yeah. Widow.
Yeah, I'm on Widow.
I just need heals, main. Oh wait.
We're dead. We
Gotcha.
got
Two
flanked.
healers both got it.
Okay, just die on cart, die on cart.
That fight was already lost. The Widow got a lot of picks, but you can stall for longer by deflecting it.
Oh. Man, that feels bad.
They would have just grapple hooked somewhere.
Yeah.
She's
really.
top on that little thing.
Yeah, in front. She's in front, high ground.
Okay. We can.
She's discorded.
Nanoblade in, we can just literally nanoblade.
Okay. Shadow, you ready? You got dash in there, alright? 3, 2, 1, go.
God damn it.
You, dude, turn your sensitivity down. What is it?
Alrighty, so you were expecting a nano for this blade, which might be why you went after the tanks. But let's talk about it a little bit, right?
Okay. Shadow, you ready? You got dash in there, alright? 3,
Alright.
2, 1, go.
So you have Mercy Zarya, you have Ryan right here,
God damn it.
you have Widow on cart.
Dude, turn your sensitivity down. What is it?
Where's one?
Nice.
I have bomb still. I got bomb here if we need it.
Just use it to stay alive.
Alright.
Yeah, on this purple.
I don't know where the Ana was, that whole blade, but that should have been your priority target. With Nano, without, if you take out the Ana and they have to burn res on the Ana, that's a much more impactful play. So you shouldn't have bladed until you knew where the Ana was and that you would be able to get her with the dash after your ult.
I have bomb still. I got bomb here if we need it.
Because I'm guessing she was just hiding around here somewhere, around this corner.
Just use it to stay alive.
Alright.
Yeah, on this purple.
We almost had trance. We don't need D.Va bomb to like kill anybody. Alright, I'm gonna start cleaving until the bubbles come out. Alright. On this
Sorry,
one.
one. Sorry, one. Sorry, one.
Nice.
Mercy, 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 mercy.
Yep. She's discorded.
Oh my god. I promise. Where? Ana's here.
Widow is right side.
Focusing
Wait, no,
right,
grapple
bubbling off
top
the seals,
left,
bubbling off the seals.
Yep.
Oh
One
man.
right.
Yep. Yeah, he's discorded.
Check up. No sleep.
Get out, check it out. Trying to heal you.
Unlucky.
Okay.
So you respawn here.
Yeah, on this purple.
We almost had trance. We don't need D.Va bomb to
Alright,
like kill
the
anybody.
team goes in, they kind of
Alright,
start a
we'll start
fight
cleaving
early without
until the
you.
bubbles come out. Alright.
What I would always say is whenever you respawn and you are in an area where you can dash, you want to use your mobility ability as soon as possible so that it begins its cooldown earlier and then it comes back by the time you get into the fight. The exception to this
On this
Sorry,
one.
one.
is
Sorry, one.
if
Sorry, one.
they're almost at the end and you're going to need it at that very, like as soon as you walk out the doors, you're going to need it. Otherwise, it is better to use it in spawn because you respawn at 7:27 and you get into the fight at 7:40 something. So 6-7 seconds, which is enough time for your dash to either be back off cooldown
Mercy, 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 mercy.
or be off cooldown in like 1 second.
She's discorded.
Oh my god.
And while in this situation, it would not have made a difference, the quicker you are in the fight, the quicker you are building ult. The quicker you ult, the more that Ana dies. The more that Ana dies to your ult, the quicker she will swap. Which means that team will have less heals because she will go something with either more survivability like Brig, or she will go something with a counter ult like Zen or Lucio.
I promise. Where?
Okay, so like that initial right click right as you walked through here. This is where you need to be comfortable with left
I
clicks.
promise.
Because even if like you perfectly landed this, you would have had one here, one here, one here. Okay, and so that is not gonna do as much as like one here, and one here if you beef your aim, right? And so it's better that if they're outside of a very close bubble, right, then you should always be trying to left click.
Where?
So you realize your mistake, you go for it.
Oh.
Yet again, like even at this range, you're only going to hit one of the shurikens. If she was low, then that's fine because you just need that one shuriken to finish him off. But since she's not, you should be left clicking these. You kind of beef a couple and then you chase. You try to deflect, that's fine.
No sleep.
Now at that point that you don't secure the kill on the Widow, right, once you're up here, you use your dash, you worry about the quick headshot, so then you use deflect. At this point you need to leave or get a very good line of sight to your healers. It is great that you try to go after this Rhine, but he is not low enough that you will be able to do it, right? And although he's isolated by this bubble, he has way too much health for you to burn through alone, and you have no abilities to protect yourself.
Yep, yeah, he just
Back up.
So by going in here, like their Anna is super ballsy, but she's also in front of you while you're trying to get back to your team.
Get out, Joker.
And then you manage to get harmonied and then bodied.
Okay.
But ideally, what you should have done is cut your losses and immediately hit the corner and play as close to this tunnel wall as possible.
Yeah, he just
Back up. No sleep.
So you should have gone and played, just gone immediately around this corner and stayed as close as you could. Because by playing so close, the second you get more than 2 steps in, the enemy team has to be all the way up here to see you. Otherwise, you're giving yourself the most cover to let you get away.
Get out, Joker. Trying to hit.
So because you kind of back up too much, the Widow's able to snipe you. If you had been closer to the edge, she would probably not have been able to hit you because you had the car as cover and you had this giant wall as cover.
Okay. What else do they have? I'm gonna bomb here.
Use dash to like.
Dash was on 1 second.
No, I know. Use dash to get out.
There's one.
Mercy, mercy.
Oh.
Oh.
Ryan, he's weak, he's weak. Just kidding, just kidding. Focusing on him.
I'm here.
Okay, I got mercy around.
Do you want to switch to Ryan Zara? You want to stay?
I want to say monkey, but it's for the Widow. Like.
Big beef. You can always melee after a right click, and while it will slow it down, when they are that low, that could have made a difference. If you'd hit one good right click melee, that would have ended that right there.
Needs pressure, but I can't. Like, their healers are keeping their tanks up, and we keep, you know.
I like that you come back here around the back because this lets you pressure the Anna.
Won't dive onto the Widow too much, or Diana. Jumping on
I'll
cart.
dive Widow when I see her. I'm on cart.
Widow's right here.
Okay, I gotta fight cart right now.
Focusing Ryan,
Okay,
focusing
Bear's above. She's half.
Oh, Zara's one.
Sorry, no personal.
And none of this
Sarah
one is
half
pretty
main.
much lost.
Someone
C9,
go ball.
C9.
Alrighty. So what could we have done this last fight? You come around the back, which is good,
But I can't.
right? Because this
healers
is
are-
applying pressure in a different location from where they're all expecting it, which can open up holes for your team
Their
to take
tanks up, we
advantage
keep,
of.
You know, we won't dive onto the Widow too
And
much.
getting the health back there, while it does slow you down, is fine because at 120, you're at a much greater risk of dying, and right now there's still enough time for the rest of your team.
Or Diana. Jumping on.
Alright, but here you can see your diva, your monkey, your healers, right? So they should be able to touch, right? It's not at the point where we are relying on you to touch. So at this point, applying pressure to people who don't feel like they have any is the best option for success, right? Because if Widow gets to sit back here and just take pot shots all day, even if she's the worst Widow in the world, she will hit body shots and she will just be adding damage. And because she has no pressure, no contest, no anything, like she's not going to feel stressed about it. She's just going to sit there and shoot all day. So at this point, pressuring the Widow is probably the best bet. Ideally, you would want to kill her, right? Just especially because right now she's like not moving.
I'll dive Widow when I see her.
Like she literally did not move throughout that whole thing. You could have easily triple headshot her and just fucking dashed through her, done, and then moved on to the tanks.
I'm on cart.
Widow's
And
right
that would
here.
have also given you big ult charge. Instead, what you do
Too much.
is you
Already on.
ignore the widow,
Jumping on
I'll
cart.
dive Widow when I see her.
right?
I'm on cart.
And then you dash 2 bubbled targets in a row. So not only do you give the Zarya a charge for 1 dash, you're giving her 2 dashes worth of charge because you're hitting both the bubbles. And you get no ult charge for this. So I think this is why I say that your mechanics are pretty good. Yes, you have a couple beefs, but honestly that just happens no matter what level you're at. Your aim is pretty good, and you're when you like finish off a low target, you do it really crispy. But your consistency in gameplay choices and decisions is what I feel is holding you back the most right now. Because like right there, not only did you not pressure the Widow, right? You gave the Zarya a charge, and you gimped yourself of ult charge. So like in terms of plays, that was huge because you're close enough that you could Blade. Now, would Blade swing this last fight? Would you be able to do anything about it? Probably not. But, right, just because it is a high pressure situation and you're like, you know, understandably, you're like, crap, they got 20 seconds. We got to, you know, if we stop them here, all we got to do is push it all the way. You know, even if we don't, we should get them to overtime. But at that moment is when you need to make the best decisions, right? Because by doing that, you've just like hurt your team because the Widow's fine. The Zarya now has more energy to melt your team that's coming back from spawn and is not in a good position. And you don't have ult to clean up
Widow's
whatever
right
your team hurts.
Okay, I got a fight cart right now.
Focusing Ryan, focusing.
Bear's above, she's half.
All Zarya's 1.
And then from here, it's just a big cleanup, so you're not going to do well. Okay, so then you go attack. And the one thing I will say about Numbani A on offense, Ana sucks, right? And so I'm going to explain this because I don't mean this bad on any Ana on Numbani A. But, alright, I'm going to do a horrible drawing right now. So we have the little balcony, the stairs, right, the little balcony. You have the room that everyone comes through, the connector. I'm just going to say that's the room. You have point down here with the payload. You have the high ground, the balcony, and then streets, right? So, most of the time, when you are diving on Numbani A, your targets are going to be over here. Ooh. Right? They're going to be up on this high ground, or they're going to be on this corner. And so either you push from main, stage, up here, right? You get ready for your dive, or you just push down here and then dive directly onto them. Either way, in order for Ana to heal you, she has to do a couple of things. One, she has to go to main and walk all the way past and put herself out here in the open so she can see up onto these balconies and heal your team, right? Because her healing is line of sight based. Or she can abandon your team, go up through the area completely alone, hope that there's no one up here, sit on the balcony completely in the open, and from here heal your team, right? Or she can go all the way around on the big flank and kind of hang out on these stairs where she has some kind of cover from the enemy team, but, you know, again, nice long flank route. Or she can go under, through by where the mega is, pop out over here or under here and try to heal from there. The issue being, for any of these options, is that in order for Ana to provide valuable healing to your team, she has to expose herself to an unrealistic amount of danger. And that is why for Numbani A, it is often better to run any other healer other than Ana. Because if you run a Moira, right, her piss spray can reach up here, it's not great. She can also throw a ball up there, again, it's not great. But she has her fade to get out if something goes wrong. Mercy can fly up there with you. Zen's Harmony Orb can go up there on whoever he's healing, and then he can peek, fire off his Discord, and then go back to safety. Lucio can kind of do some crazy wall rides to get up there. And who's left? Brig? Okay, Brig is also another bad choice. Although, the good thing about Brig is she has some form of self-protection in that she could shield wherever the enemies are, and then do her little long-range armor pack throw for 150 heals. Not great, but not bad. So running Ana on first point offense is always a struggle. And it is not through any fault of anyone on your team. It is simply how the map is normally played and how your Ana will have to play the map because of it.
It's just luck.
Yeah.
If their Widow didn't get those 2 picks, we would have held that second.
Alright, so you run dive, Tracer, then Ana. Now, the other thing about this is, if the enemy team ran dive, your healers would get screwed, because they're both immobile healers who like to play in the back, so often your Zen and your Ana are playing in the same spot. So if the enemy team went dive, I feel like you would have struggled a lot more than you did. This was a pretty close game, but it was also because they didn't really take advantage of your comp.
Mercy will be back.
Yeah, she'll
Or
be
they're
able to get back
switching.
in time.
Alright, so you decide to push main.
Okay, I'm ready
Jumping
to jump
top
top
right.
right when you're ready.
3, 2, 1. I'm just gonna cleave. They're gonna go on point.
So
I'm just gonna be on point.
the issue with this is your monkey is balls deep first, and then he jumps balls deep first before everyone's ready. Because ideally you shouldn't be climbing the wall,
Jumping
and your Tracer shouldn't be at main.
Jump top right when you're ready.
3, 2, 1. I'm just gonna cleave. There's nothing here.
Oh, there.
He's gonna go on point. I'm just gonna.
Alrighty, so we got a rough idea of their comp, right? They had Diva, Orisa, Pharah, Ana, Soldier. I don't know what else they had.
Field.
Soldier,
Point.
this order's top. He backed out.
Okay.
Oh no, no nade.
Leave it anti. Leave it anti up here.
We're down here.
Alright, so see right there. Your Ana was all the way up here, and she still wasn't even really able to heal up your tanks, and she was eating damage from the Orisa. So this is what I mean when I say that pushing is very hard, because like, what is her other option? She comes up here where she gets spammed by Pharah and dove by Diva, and shot by Soldier and Ana. Like, there's no good place for Ana to play this point.
Scratching my nose.
Okay.
Gotta play careful. Oh man.
That is unlucky that that deflected, not sleeper ass.
Gotta play careful. Oh man.
Like, unlucky, dude. That should have slept her.
What do they have? Orisa Diva. Alright.
But honestly, right now, what you're doing is effective. Because you are pressuring the Ana, and you are forcing her into a position where she does not have as good of sight lines. Or you're pressuring her towards where your Tracer can do more damage. Because up here, your Tracer doesn't really pose a threat to her. Your Monkey and Diva do, you do, but your Tracer doesn't. So by forcing her out of this cubbyhole and over to here, your Tracer is actually able to take advantage of this a lot better.
We're just gonna have to dive onto their Ana
Yeah.
or
Where's
Soldier. Ana or Soldier, probably next to the tanks. Okay, Divas are with me.
Diva? Yeah, she's discorded. Nah, she
Yeah.
got out.
Keep Discord
About
on
5 seconds
Diva.
behind you guys.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're doing it right now.
Okay, wait for the boosters to come back. 6 seconds, guys.
Ana's back right again.
3, 2, 1. I'm jumping on Soldier. I'm jumping on Soldier. I'm jumping on Soldier on point.
I'm on soldier.
He's one.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
Mercy,
Focus,
Mercy on point.
Mercy.
Died.
You're dead to the spot.
I'm dead.
So
I'm jumping on soldier. I'm jumping on soldier on point.
I'm on soldier.
it's not your job to deal with the Pharah, but it is good that you're actually dinking her, and you're doing quite well at hitting your clicks. So I can't really fault you for any of this.
1v1.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
Mercy on point.
Alright, but you saw the bomb go up huge here. You're pretty much screwed no matter what you do, but your best bet would have been to go into this corner or to try to get to this pillar.
Mercy.
To hide here?
I'm dead.
That was like a perfect bomb, because I think that ended up at the right height where it would have got anyone on the platforms and below it. That was a really good bomb.
What?
Alright, so now you're dead.
Get
okay.
Diva
They're
in the
gonna
back of Diva if
res.
she can win.
Yep.
Without
Diva's in her
just
back
trying
line?
to stay alive if she can.
Okay,
Yep,
I
she's
have,
up.
Leave her.
7
Leave her. We can almost nano blade.
I have pulse bomb too.
Yet again, you guys are very fixated on nanoblading. Don't. Stop. Nanoblade is great if you have to burn through trance, right? Because dash slash will then kill people. As opposed to now where it has to be slash dash slash or dash slash slash. So, stop trying to steal all the nanos for those big play of the games. And instead you would do better nanoing your Winston into a giant group of people. Or even nanoing whoever is low to keep them up.
I can try to put that on healer.
Yeah, I'm dead,
you
dude.
can get on
Where's
the,
their on the posting?
Thank you.
far
Probably
right,
near
far
the
back,
Arista.
high ground. No, she's by herself.
There's no way I can
Far
get out.
right.
I'm going around.
Okay.
I'm gonna jump from high ground at their Ana.
If you can pulse
Okay.
that.
I'm going all the way around.
Yeah, she's all the way back there. Farah saw me though. Careful, don't go that way.
On the top right. Where soldier was in the beginning. She's got barrage, I think.
Got train.
Oh.
That's bad.
Bad.
All right. Next fight, we're gonna go in. I'm gonna get nanoed. Okay. Oh, actually, no. I'm sorry. We got nanoblade. I'm sorry.
Stop trying to nanoblade. It's not going to make a difference.
Yeah, I know.
And that survivability on the monkey is
Mercy's
much
gonna
more
have Valk,
effective.
so don't even go for Mercy.
Yeah.
And be prepared to be barraged.
I'll
think
I'll
they would,
save DM
but
for
they
it.
might be stupid enough to do it.
I really want to go for the.
Oh my god.
Okay.
what's
Ana,
up?
where are you?
Diva got no missiles.
Go for Ana or
Say
soldier.
when you're ready, I'm gonna nano you before you dash, okay?
Okay.
Ready? I don't have no one left.
Okay. Come here.
I'm with you. I'll DM you if you want.
Dude, I would have
Boom.
fucking got so mad if you missed that.
Good up.
Fair one.
I don't even know where the soldier's ulting. Oh, he's right here.
Yeah, he's right.
Money's one.
I got a bomb to
We win
remake.
that point. We win
He
that
was
point.
discorded.
D was one. I'm bubbling corner. Just stay on point.
Team attack. Fire's discorded. Got it. Mercy.
Thank you.
Nice.
Okay, I'm moving
So-
up. I'm moving up.
While you didn't need the nano to really do that, it worked out. But again, as long as you blade and kill the Ana, you should win most fights.
Jumping up Mercy.
I'll stand on cart.
Please move in.
Baby Diva's one. Oh, they got
Dasher, dasher, dasher! Oh, did your dash not reset? Did you kill her pre-dash?
Cart.
Please move in.
Baby Diva's one.
Oh, that's bogus. That's very unlucky that your dash didn't reset.
Oh, they got Widow now.
Again, if you're getting hammered, deflect it. You might last long enough for your healer to get you.
Get her, Gobi.
So I was gonna leave her.
Alright. They res Ana?
I'm jumping on. I'm just gonna cleave.
Okay.
Push shadow.
Jumping on Ana.
On Ana. Ana no nade.
They have shadow.
That's just double
swinging at me.
Careful. We need DPS to follow up with us.
I was just going.
was
Diva
there.
half. Diva half
I
left.
know, but you're just cleaving
Remake
forever.
this Diva.
Ah! I hit recall.
Diva. We got far?
Remaking.
Put a pulse bomb on.
Melee!
Mercy discord.
Nice.
Fuck WS.
Ryan is half in front.
Yeah,
Let Chicklin stay in part, Shadow. You can move up with us a little bit. This way, if
We're gonna
someone's in
raid.
danger,
We're
you
gonna
can
raid.
just We have nano blade. We have nano blade. You can nano blade.
You ready? 3.
Okay,
Yeah, do it.
Reaper's discorded. He's one.
I got res on Ana.
I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. I'm done.
A hero blade. A hero blade. Let's go, please.
Ryan's discorded. So close to trip ants.
Alright, so again, you guys go for that. Has to be a nano blade. Can't just be a regular blade.
Hey, this way, if
We're gonna
someone's in
raise-
danger,
we're
you
gonna
can
raise
just
my
nano
card.
us.
I have blade.
We have nano blade. We have nano blade. You can nano blade.
You ready? 3.
Okay,
Yeah, do it.
Reaper's discorded. He's one.
I got res on Ana.
So, unlucky that that second slash did not hit the Ana. But from this point, or I'm sorry, the second slash did not hit the Mercy. But from this point, this should be your only target.
I'm good. I'm good. I'm good.
I think you back up because you don't want to die to the bomb, which I understand.
A hero blade. A hero blade. Let's go, please.
Ryan's discorded. So close to trip ants.
That was a waste. We shouldn't have used that.
Ryan's one.
I'm just gonna go Ryan here.
Alright, so your team swaps things up now. And they've swapped some things up. So they have Reaper instead of Soldier. And now you're going to end up with Ryan Zarya. You're not really losing much in terms of ult.
Stay diva.
Can somebody heal me? Where's the heals?
Reaper front left.
While you could be aiming at the Ana, burning this diva and giving yourself a lot of ult charge is a good
Also on
choice.
again.
Deflect is a bit odd, but you know, if you're trying to stay alive and this is an important fight, dash it,
just
dash
Ryan
it.
literally wanted something.
There you go.
Down it.
Fair,
Down it.
fair
Down it.
behind us. Back right. Fair behind.
She's discorded.
Nice. I would have dashed through them.
Yeah, just back up. Back up.
Almost got blade.
After this blade, just switch off Genji.
I got it. I got blade.
Now you have Blade. You're in a clutch situation. That Mercy just rezzed the Rhine. Who do you blade? Ana.
He's got another train.
Make her regret picking Ana.
Hey, don't flank. Don't flank. That's dangerous. Dude, trust me. You can have LOS right if he just dashes above the team. If he just dashes above them,
Are you guys nanoblading again?
you will have LOS.
Okay, you ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
Get in there, boys. Nice.
Run that. Run that.
Bar's gonna barrage.
Good manager.
Nice, nice, nice. We win this. We win this. Focus Reaper.
That's twice now. You've bladed the Mercy. That's twice now. You've gotten nothing for it. Don't try to blade Mercies. Their Guardian Angel is on such a short cooldown. Unless you perfectly, crisply get them every time, they're gonna just Guardian Angel away, and then you've just wasted 2 ults for nothing. Instead, go after the Ana, who I think was up there too.
Get in there, boys.
I don't know where the Ana
Run
was,
that.
but
Bar's gonna barrage.
Good manager.
she's probably by this truck.
Nice, nice, nice. We win this. We win this. Focus
Keep
Reaper.
going, keep going.
Point. Focus Reaper.
Focus
Point.
Reaper before he ults.
It's okay. It's okay. We can't get to him.
He's discorded.
Reaper 1.
He's down.
Farah
Fuck it, I
above.
don't wanna do
Focus
it.
Farah. Farah 1 above.
Bar's discorded. He's one. She got healed.
Nice.
Oh my gosh, I'm an idiot. I got Ana.
Big charge. Mercy. Mercy.
We're still above you guys.
Ryan's one. Ryan's one. Just stand card. Stand card. What's contesting card?
I'm on card. I'm on card. Mercy. Farah on card. Above.
And then that's it. So your Genji mechanics are pretty good. I think when you get too hyped or it becomes sort of a clutch situation, your aim kind of goes to shit. But at the very beginning, your aim was good. So that's not a mechanic issue, that's a mindset issue. And there's a couple ways to work through that, but mainly I would just say play more so that these clutch situations, while they are intense, they don't affect you that much. The other thing is look at what the enemy is running. See, if they were running this comp, then every time you bladed, this guy would be drop and you would get nothing out of it, which can be fine, but you'd have to save blade till either he's dead or you know he's used it, or just to force it out so your other ults can get value. But I think there was like 3 times there where you went for Mercy with your blade. And it's like out of the target list of people you can blade, ideally what you want are low mobility, right? You don't want someone who can get away from you easily. Low stun. Right? You don't want to go against like Brig, who will like stun lock you and then boop you away out of range. And then you want them to be low health. This is important. So if someone on the enemy team fills 2 out of those 3, you should go after them. It's fine to blade to try to burn through a Rhine or something if you know he's not going to be being healed up by like a Mercy or an Ana, or you know he's just going to get freaking tanked through your ult. But if you went after the Ana, yes, she does have sleep, but if she doesn't hit her sleep, then she doesn't even have a stun. So then she's got low mobility, she's got low health because it's only 200 max, and you just get to kill her. And then once you kill her, you can go, then you can try for the crazy Mercy Pharah mid-air double kill dash play of the game super highlight, you know, montage kills. But priority in against this sort of team comp where they don't have an ult to counter you should always be the Ana, right? Now if they were running Ana Zen, right, that when they trance is when you want your nano. If they don't have anything to mitigate your damage, while the extra damage is nice on you, it is by no means a requirement. You don't need to be nanoed to kill anyone in this comp, right? You don't need it. It makes it faster, yes, but then that opens up this nano to be used as a life saving on some of your squishier teammates, or even on yourself if you're in a bad situation, or it can be used to keep your tanks up and get some really good aggression going. So Nanoblade, if they have trance, or if they have beat drop, or if they have like a McCree, a Brig, and an Ana where you're worried about getting stunned down, because then you get the damage reduction. But otherwise, you should be perfectly comfortable blading when they're without nano. So I guess the two big takeaways for you. Calm down. Yes, there are points in this game where you will have to clutch it out. But if you are so amped that you cannot aim, you're not gonna do it no matter how many times, because you're stopping yourself. It's not even like your mechanics are bad, because like that first kill on that Widow, that was crispy, dude. That was so crispy. So I know you've got the mechanics, right? But it's in those clutch situations that's where you need to calm down. You need to look and think about, who should I be going for? What should my play be, right? Should I go after their carry DPS? Should I go after their super strong heal line? Or should I stall time on cart? Well, if your tanks are there, you don't need to stall time on cart. And then it becomes a choice of DPS or heals. Well, that kind of depends on each situation, but you've got to try to calm down and focus on what needs to be done, because you have the mechanics to be diamond, probably high diamond, but you need the game sense and the, what am I trying to say? You need the game sense and the mindset and the ability to exploit the enemy team's comp, right? Because how you play Genji against Ana Mercy is different from how you play against Mercy Lucio, right? Because here you're going to struggle to blade against anything, because if this was the comp they were running all game, because blading Pharah out of air, hard. Blading Mercy while she's guardian angeling everywhere, hard. You blade the Reaper, he'll just wraith away. You try to blade their tanks, they'll probably just survive. You blade the Lucio, he'll boop you and might survive. So you need to recognize where an opening is in their comp and what you can do to exploit that. But all in all, I think you will climb eventually. There's no doubt about that. It's just how quickly you climb depends on everything falling into place. Thanks for watching. Take care.